What is going on, YouTube? Fascinating graveyard. Today we're in Johnson City, Texas. Population, I'm not really sure, probably under 10,000. And today we're going to visit the grave of the 36th President of the United States, of course, Lyndon B. Johnson. We're going to talk a little bit about his life, his career. We're going to visit his grave. There's some kind of a museum thing up the road where I'm going to take you in there, show you some items of note. It's going to be an interesting little video. We'll try to round everything up as quickly as possible without droning on and on about absolutely nothing. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Who was Lyndon B. Johnson? Now let me explain that to you. Lyndon Baines Johnson was born August 27th, 1908 here in Johnson City, Texas. He was the son of Samuel Ely Johnson. Samuel was a Texas House of Representatives member. Their family, they were farmers, cattle herders. Johnson City was named after his dad's cousin, who was James Polk Johnson. Johnson City, nice little town. Population, I didn't look that up. I should have before I did this video. I'm going to guess there's less than 10,000 people in this area. So growing up, I'm assuming since your dad was a politician, you're going to want to be one too. And Lyndon Baines Johnson wanted to follow in his dad's footsteps. Now, for a while, he got disinterested in doing that and instead went to a school in San Marcos, which I believe now is the University of Texas at San Marcos School. It was a teaching college. He went over there to become a teacher. He graduated in 1930 with a bachelor's in science degree. And after that, he had went down south of San Antonio to teach at a school. I think it was like some kind of segregated school where Mexican children would go to that school. I guess they were born on the other side of the tracks, if you will. I did not know that segregation also was a plight suffered by Latinos as well. So after leaving that school, he comes up here and gets a job at a high school. Later on, he's offered a job at Sam Houston High School down in Houston. He's teaching public speaking down there. But then, of course, he gets the itch to, run for the Texas House of Representatives, 37th District, I believe. Don't quote me on that, kids. This is just off of stuff that I've read earlier. Anyway, so he wins a seat in the House of Reps, and he is a representative of Texas for about 12 years. And then in 1947, 1948, he runs for Senate here in Texas. Now, really quickly, not to get off topic, but this house right here, this happens to be the home, the boyhood home of Lyndon Baines Johnson. So anyways, during the time when he was running for Senate, he ran against, his name escapes me right now, but he was the former governor of Texas. So in the Democratic primary to run for a seat in the Senate, out of 988,000 votes that were cast, Lyndon B. Johnson won by, I want to say it was less than 100 votes. Now, there's a little bit of rumors. There's a little bit of rumors about if there was any kind of, ballot, altering or cheating, if you will. But nonetheless, he won, and he would go on to serve as the senator here out of Texas. And he later became the House Majority Leader. He was a senator for about, I want to say, 12 years. And then there was something that Lyndon B. Johnson wanted to do with himself, past being a senator. This guy wanted to be the President of the United States of America. So in 1959 or so, Lyndon B. Johnson makes it known that he is going to, in fact, run for the presidency of the United States of America. Now, you have many people in the Democratic field that are vying for the Democratic nomination to run for the presidency of the United States of America. And Lyndon B. Johnson really, truly wanted to become the president of the United States of America. However, there was one man in that field of Democrats that was going to put a kibosh on him becoming the president of the United States, and that man's name was John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy, I might be doing a video about him in the very near future, was a... it's hard to explain this guy because, with trying to be respectful. JFK was your prototypical smooth, sophisticated politician, kind of just whatever it is, whatever words you want to use in that description of who John F. Kennedy was. JFK was everything that Lyndon B. Johnson wasn't, and these two did not really intermingle in the same sector of political, who know who or whatever. They operated in different, social circles, if you will. John F. Kennedy was smooth talking. He was very regal, very sophisticated, and he was very rich. And him and his brother, Bobby, as well. They came from Massachusetts, and Lyndon, he grew up in Texas. He was kind of I don't want to use the word roughneck. That's not the word I'm intending on using for this guy, but let's just say that Lyndon B. Johnson was very rough around the edges. I mean, this guy, a lot of people would say, like, you would talk to him in the Oval Office and he would go and just use the bathroom right in front of you. Didn't really care. While talking to you about whatever political affairs that were taking place at the current time. This guy, this was a weird thing that he would often do. He would take off his pants while he was in the Oval Office talking to people. It was just really weird. Sometimes he would pick his nose, and a lot of people say this guy would just like cut a fart or whatever. Right? Like, just like, like you're just doing nothing. And, so you got two very polar opposites that are vying for the seat to head this country. Some would say the most powerful position in the world. And so Lyndon B. Johnson didn't make it out of the primary, so John F. Kennedy was the Democratic nominee. And a lot of people were very, very surprised that of all the people that ran, of all the people that JFK could have picked, he picks Lyndon B. Johnson, of all people, this uncouth person, very powerful person in politics, but probably didn't really have the cachet. He didn't have the look of a president. John F. Kennedy, in a sense, he really won. The only reason why he really became the president of the United States is because of that infamous debate with him and Richard Nixon. Well, I'll get into later in the video if I choose to do it about JFK. So the reason why, in my opinion, and it's quite obvious if you just read up a little bit, the reason why JFK picked LBJ to be the his running mate was because, well, like I said, all that, you got a rich guy, smooth talking politician from Massachusetts, and he's going to need the votes of people living in the South. People living in the South, they're not going to identify with this guy. This guy is just a prototypical politician guy. Lyndon B. Johnson is from Texas. He has Southern roots here. He is, came across as a normal man, not rich by any means necessary. His family was successful, but he was not a rich guy. So he thought, okay, I need this guy to solidify the base and, garner us votes, from the Carolinas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, so forth and so on. And so, like I said, to the surprise of many, many people, this guy picks Lyndon B. Johnson, of all people, to be his running mate. And then, of course, you have the general election between JFK and Richard Nixon, which JFK wins handedly. And here you have it. You have Lyndon B. Johnson. He's the vice president of the United States. Not the job he wanted. He wanted to be the president, but, better better that than nothing at all. And I'm sure Lyndon B. Johnson is like, well, if he runs again, I'll run with him. And then when he's done, maybe I'll run later. Yeah, I'll be a little older, but, I could run for president in 1968, Lyndon B. Johnson, right? Now, that wasn't going to happen the way he thought it would. And being the vice president in Lyndon B. Johnson's mind wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. He literally had no power. Oftentimes, people in the, I guess you can call it some people call it the Irish Mafia, the people in the White House, the Kennedy clan, if you will. Oftentimes, when it would come down to serious issues, Lyndon B. Johnson would be in the room, but there was a very important decision to make about the Cuban Missile Crisis that Lyndon was not a part of. And he was sometimes made fun of just because of the way he was. I mean, he's a different guy than people from Massachusetts. So on, of course, November 22nd, 1963, JFK and Lyndon, they're traveling together, which is pretty rare for a president and a vice president to be at the same place at the same time, just in case something tragic happens, And on that day, there were many, many more people to see John F. Kennedy than they thought. And, back in those days, I don't know who decided it would be safe for Kennedy to ride in an open car, but he was riding in the presidential, I believe it was a Cadillac. I could probably be wrong, but and Lyndon was in that same motorcade. Of course, he was in a rental. And then, of course, you hear the shots. I'm not going to get into who shot who or what happened. That'll be for possibly a future video. John F. Kennedy was declared dead at the hospital where they brought him to, I think within about an hour after he was shot. It was probably less, and he probably more than likely died instantly. And, wow, Lyndon B. Johnson is being sworn in as a president of the United States of America in this pretty famous photo with Jacqueline Kennedy. And he was supposed to be sworn in at the White House, but he wanted to be sworn right at that spot. And the reason why Jacqueline Kennedy is in that picture with him is because he wanted her in the picture just to make sure that there's, that the transfer of power seemed to be more legit. I mean, can you imagine your husband just got murdered in front of you and he's like, oh, hey, can you stand with me in this picture? And the look on her face, I can't imagine. It gives me chills to look at that picture. And Lyndon B. Johnson became president of the United States of America. The job he always dreamed of, but definitely not the way he seen how he would win. This is I think this is a museum or something like that. This is the LBJ, you want to call it a center or something like that. I wanted to show you a couple things. It's a visitor center. So, hello. I wanted to just show you really quickly. I don't want to talk too loudly, but just wanted to show you a couple really cool things. There is, I think it's around this corner right here. Let's see. Nope, over here. Yep, here we are. There's a couple items of note with his presidency. I wanted to show you that this is the actual suit that he wore during the time that he was president. I think that's really cool. I just wanted to come in here and show you guys that. That is awesome. And wanted to show you also. Oh, so this right here, this car, this Model T car, this was a present that Henry Ford Jr., if you will, gave to Lyndon B. Johnson's dad as a gift. It's a Ford Model T. I want to say, and I want to say the top speed of these things were like, what is it, 48 miles an hour? Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I think it was 48 miles an hour. I actually visited a grave of a girl who died in 1913 riding in one of these. It was very, very dangerous back in those days. I don't believe they didn't come with seatbelts, I mean, I think you could order them. They might have been an add-on, but they didn't come standard in cars back in those days. Very, very dangerous. Okay, so of course that is a picture of Lady Bird Johnson. That was his wife. She was very, very big on conservation, nature, wildlife. She did a lot of works on her own after Lyndon B. Johnson died. And these stones right here, these were stones that Lyndon would have on his ranch for when people came to visit him. They would just kind of sign their names in the concrete. I don't know if he used them as steps or he kept them in the garden or something like that. But he, whoever visited, he would have them just, write their names in the cement. And this, of course, is the same bench that it is right there in that picture. I think that was when he gave I think he was a speech that he gave on education. That might have been at his actual ranch. So these are some of the things that he signed into law. Many of his, I guess you can say, good deeds that he did. Federal food stamps program. Kind of a. I might talk about that on my other channel. But one of the Minimum Wage Act of 1966, he raised the minimum wage to $1.60. Who doesn't want that? He also signed a civil rights bill that made it illegal to deny people apartments or jobs based on their race or their religion or their skin color, so forth and so on, which is kind of actually funny because when he was a rep in the House of Representatives, he actually voted down any civil rights bill that came his way. So maybe he had a change of heart later on in his life. But yeah, some of the things that he did. And signing the Social Security Act of 1967. Hey guys, you better get your Social Security while you can, because it might be gone pretty soon. And of course, it's just a timeline of events that happened in his life right over here. And it was pretty interesting. Didn't want to bore you with a 30-minute long video, but I just kind of wanted to show you talk a little bit about his life as the president of the United States. Here's a fun fact that you guys might not have known. Lyndon B. Johnson was actually the second tallest president in the history. Now, the first, of course, is Abraham Lincoln. He was 6'4". Lyndon B. Johnson was about 6'3.5". Do you want to know who the third tallest president is in history? It's President Donald Trump. He's 6'3". Now, our current president, President Joe Biden, he's listed at 5'11.5", according to the last physical that he had. So he is ranked 20th, and he's tied for 4 other presidents in height. He's actually tied with, and I was surprised. I did not know, but George W. Bush, he's actually the same height as Joe Biden, 5'11.5". I could have sworn, it actually could be 5'11.75". I could have sworn, I mean, doesn't George Bush look like he was, 5'8" or something like that? That's what I thought. Here's another fun fact. Okay, so the tallest president was Abraham Lincoln. Who was the shortest president? Well, that would go to little James Madison. He was only 5'4". There's a lot of presidents that were kind of shorter, but back in the olden days or what have you. Here's another fun fact, because this channel, it's all about fun facts. I love giving you guys fun facts. I did not know this, because when you see somebody on video or on TV or whatever, you always think that they're, maybe you think that they're a certain height. Bill Clinton is 6'2". I had no idea. I always thought that guy was like, I don't know, 5'9", 5'10", or something like that. So, yeah, hello there. Very nice lady. She played a video for us detailing a little bit about Lyndon B. Johnson. Actually, the video was a little bit boring. I kind of left during it because I was just like, didn't want to devote an hour to, researching all the fun facts about Lyndon B. Johnson's life. And, if you look up other stuff about him, you're going to see some things that are not so nice about how he spoke when the cameras were off, when there was nobody around. Yeah. So anyway, Lyndon B. Johnson did some very good things, but the unpopularity of the Vietnam War made it to where him running for re-election again in 1968 was not going to be a thing. He pretty much seen the writing on the wall that people were wanting to go a different direction, and later on Richard Nixon would go on to become the president of the United States of America. So the next stop is going to be the Lyndon B. Johnson Ranch. That is where he's buried. I was told you can go there and visit his grave. I don't know if there's going to be a fence or anything like that. So without further ado, let's hop into the old van and head out to that ranch. And this is the final stop of our tour. This is the Johnson family ranch, about 15 miles away from the visitor center. That house right over there, that is the house where he was born in 1908. The other house that I've shown was where he was raised as a boy. This is a working ranch. I see some kind of animals. They might be cows or something along those lines, or steers, whatever you want to call them. And they are known to just roam around freely. So you got to be careful when you're driving here. You don't want to run over them and turn them into hamburger, even though I do like hamburgers. So this is the ranch where Lyndon B. Johnson retired, and this is where he died over in January 22nd of 1973. So on that night, he had suffered a fatal heart attack. He was able to call Secret Service for help. By the time they reached him, he was unconscious, and they flew him in one of his private planes down to a hospital in San Antonio, and that is where the doctors pronounced him dead at the age of 64. Very, very young. He started smoking again after quitting. So this is the Johnson family grave. There's a sign that says private, please do not enter. Listen, kids, I know you paid big money to watch my video, so I'm going to give you all the bang for your buck that I can give you. So let's hop this little wall. I've always ignored signs. Let's hurry this up because I could be committing a felony right now. But this is the Johnson family cemetery, and this is the grave right here of Lyndon Baines Johnson, August 27th, 1908 to January 22nd, 1973. And this is his wife resting beside him. This is Claudia Taylor Johnson, also known as Lady Bird Johnson. And you got some other Johnson family members all around here. So yeah. Also, here's a fun fact that you guys may not know. Lyndon B. Johnson, he almost died a couple different times. During the time he was a representative in the Texas House, legislator house, whatever you want to call it, he joined the Navy as a not a full-fledged member of the Navy. I think it was he was a reservist, and he's seen some action in I believe the South Pacific, and he was supposed to go on a plane for a bombing mission, but he had to use the bathroom. So he jumps out, goes to the bathroom, and the plane leaves without him. Well, that plane never made it back. It got shot down. So because of him having to use the bathroom, he lived. And then in 1955, he suffered I guess doctors would call it the biggest heart attack you can ever have without dying. And because of that, him almost dying, he went on a diet and quit cigarettes, only to pick them up later as he became the president, because being stressed out from being the president of the United States of America and all that good stuff. So anyways, all right guys, well that's it. I'm done, and Guys, don't do as I do with climbing over the wall, but if you feel the need to do so, go ahead. It's pretty much open right there. I didn't even see you could just actually open. I thought it was locked. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could have just went through the gate. All right. Well, I wanted to see it up close. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll catch up with you on the next one. Be good, y'all. Peace out.